we're going to get right down into our what solds. For this is covering June 18th, I think it was, just to the end of June. I normally go through Saturday, but I just decided since I had missed last week's what sold that I would just go ahead and start from the 18th and just go to the end of the month. So that was pretty much a little bit less than 2 weeks worth of solds. And I'm in a different spot in my house, I don't know if you can tell, but anyway, my reselling lair, as I like to call it, because it's downstairs, it is getting an upgrade, an overhaul, just some things that needed to get done in that room. It was really kind of an unfinished part of the basement. And so anyway, I made a quick little video about that. I'm going to share that at the end of this video. So if you don't care about my reselling space, then you can just watch the what solds and go on your merry way. But anyway, also I wanted to give an update about my my listing challenge for Ruby Lane. So again, I put my Ruby Lane listings at, my solds are at the end, towards the end of the video. So I'm going to share those, but then I'm going to share how my listing challenge ended up. And spoiler alert, I did not hit my 100 listings, but that's okay. So we'll just talk about it towards the end. But starting off with eBay, and yes, I believe this was, it was June 18th. The first thing I sold on the 18th was this Johnny Was striped shirt that's embroidered. So I just kind of look for any kind of embroidery these days. Johnny Was is a really good brand to keep an eye out for. Some in clothing, if you're not a clothing seller. Most clothing sellers know about this brand because it's been popular for a bit. What's interesting is that the tag on this one doesn't say Johnny Was, it just says 3J Workshop. So that probably helped it from getting overpriced at the thrift store. So it kind of pays to know some of those different kinds of labels and that are under the Johnny Was umbrella. So this sold for this full asking price of $60, and 3J Workshop, from what I could tell from the website, they kind of specialize in like upcycling dress shirts, and that's kind of the idea of this one. It's like a button down shirt. Let me find the back of it. Here you go. So it's embroidered. It's kind of restructured in the back as well. Anyway, so as you can see, where I take my photos, if you've ever noticed before, it's just this unfinished area of sheetrock. And so my husband is fixing that part, and he'll be mudding it. He's actually mudding it as we speak and painting that. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, then here we go. The next sale we have, Eddie Bauer. So you see my main photo room. I use photo room, an app, and I take out the background. But that's just how I prefer to do it. And this is an Eddie Bauer vintage. I got this at a yard sale where I got, if you remember, the flower sack dress. I got another Johnny Was t-shirt dress there, but that I don't think has sold. But I did sell, I sold another vintage like sundress that I shared, I think, last what sold video. Anyway, so I bought this there as well, and it was $3. And let me take a look. This actually sold for, I think I had a 15% coupon, so $6 less than this, so $34 is what it sold for. This look is just really popular, this 90s kind of loose fitting, and then it was made out of linen, so that's really good for this time of year. I sold another necktie. This one went overseas. It was an international sale. It was through the eBay International Shipping Program. And it was actually going to go, oh look, you can see the recipient address now. It went to Mexico, or it's on its way to Mexico. And it, I think, just used the coupon. Yeah, this one used the coupon as well. So I think I started the coupon at this point. a couple days after I got home from my trip. So that sold for 15% less than $30. And I just want to say, it didn't really have a name. There was no, it had a label that was the name of the department store, and then it just said all silk. But it's, you know, from the 40s, and it was all silk. And it was nice, brightly colored. It did have a stain. You kind of see it. I don't know if you can tell. In some of the white grapes, it was a little darker stain, so I just disclosed that in my listing. I have a few pieces of these Ken Edwards bowl dishes left. All the big dinner plates have sold. I have a couple little salad plates left. And this bowl, I got a message when I was on my trip asking how deep it was, something I failed to put in my listing. So I just said, you know, I'll check on that when I get back from my trip and I'll let you know. And I did. And then she bought it right after that. And that would have been also with the 15% off. Yeah. Okay, another sale with the coupon. These Cole Haan bow pump. I looked up, I remember when I was at the store, it says Cole Haan, and then it says Grand OS. So there's different like features or lines that Cole Haan shoes have. So it always pays to look those up, and comps looked kind of favorable for that. So again, $40 minus the $6, and so that went for about $34 for these shoes. I just picked these up at Goodwill one day for about $7. Wrangler, this was one of those, okay, so I'm still figuring out Western shirts. Wrangler shirts will sell. They're never going to be like huge money. I shouldn't say never. I'm sure there's ones that are good money. They're more specific, but in general, kind of your average Wrangler plaid type shirt, you know, is not going to be huge money. This is a more modern one, and I'm talking especially the modern ones. Vintage ones can do a little bit better. But this one was Wrangler Rock 47, and I remember I had done well with a Wrangler Rock 47 shirt in the past, and so I thought, you know what, let me pick this up. And I listed it, and it was like, crickets. So I remember thinking, like, oh, this Rock 47 stuff, I'm not going to pick that up anymore. And then sure enough, my shirt sold. I don't think I quite touched it, but I thought about it. Okay, so $25 minus the 15% is what that sold for. So 25, like $21 or so. Then a hat, just a simple trucker style hat for Ace Hardware. And that one also had the like $3.75 discount. So about the same, $21. And then do you guys remember these? These were in my $5 haul from our little outlet center place, thrifty outlet, clearance center. And my husband kind of fixed them up to look better. And they sold, I did take an offer on these for $28, which was totally fine because they were nope, not completely a smaller size, but they were kind of beat up a little bit. We got them looking fairly good, but the orange and the red was kind of interesting, and I got good feedback on these already. Now these are a bolo. I've heard about these selling in lots of different reselling groups and Instagram and things like that. I've sold some back in the fall. And I generally just pick the ones that are sealed. Those sell the best. And I've heard from other people that they sell the best on Amazon. You can get really good prices, especially if they're sealed. Now this box, I took a chance on it. It basically looked full. Okay. And so I did, my pictures are not going to load. Here we go. There's like 5 of them missing. And so anyway, I don't know if these are discontinued or what the deal is with this. That's what I'm assuming. That's generally what happens when things like this sell. Anyway, so those sold for $36.99. And then I believe they had the 15% coupon. Yes, they got about $5.50 off of that price. And I picked them up for about $5. So if you see the sealed ones, the bigger the boxes, the better. And they seem to still be selling pretty well. And it only took a few days to sell. Do you guys remember the stationery brand Current? I remember my mom getting the catalog. She might have ordered a couple things once, but she got the catalog like forever. And I just would pour over that catalog. I think I still have some stickers in my sticker collection from when I was a kid that we had gotten from Current. Anyway, so I had gotten a couple bags of these. They were in the bag at the baggie wall at Goodwill. And these 4 I decided to lot up together. They're called Just Notes, and they're kind of like those. There's notes, envelopes, and then there's little seals to close them up. Now, I had already, the other one that I had bought was this Tiny Tales one, and I listed one of those by themselves, and that sold really fast. And so then other people, when I put this lot together, I did it because this Tiny Tales one, it wasn't really used, but someone had put one of the seals on one of the envelopes, but then didn't use it or something. Anyway, so it wasn't as like pristine as the other one. So I just decided to lot it up and help get these other ones sold. And I had a person or two ask if they could just separate that one out. And I was like, no, not really. Because, you know, with offers and coupons, my price was pretty much close to what I sold that one by itself for. And so I was like, no, you can just buy all the rest of them too. So anyway, those actually sold for $30 minus the 15%. I think my coupon was still going, just double checking. Yep. So minus about $5 from that. Next up, if you remember my office supply video, I have, this was one of the things I mentioned as far as paper hole punches. I used to pick these up and sell them all the time, and I had checked comps, and they're still selling. Like, the sell-through rate was really good on these, even though the prices are usually between $15 and $20. But not long after that video, I found this one, and I thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and try it. This one's Mark Franklin Quest, but that's also Franklin Covey, and this was a classic punch, and so I put all that in there. It was pretty beat up when I got it. We attacked it with some magic eraser, and it got looking a little bit better. So $16.99. That one was not, let me double check this. I'm thinking it was not with the coupon. Nope, I think my coupon had ended by then. And so yeah, full price, and I just shipped it. We shipped it in a padded flat rate envelope. Next up is a Cabela's hunting button-up flannel shirt. Was it vintage? Yes, it was vintage. It has the older label. It sold for $20. We took an offer. It was kind of after a couple days of really low sales, and we got a $20 offer. I debated countering, and then I was just like, you know what, just take it. It's fine. Let's see if this kind of, you know, accepting an offer and having a sale sometimes leads to other sales and sometimes not. Okay, nice sale on these. This was a pair of fisherman sandals, and we actually picked these up on our recent road trip, and I do have a haul video coming out this week about the things I found. My husband has dipped into the finds a couple times and listed a couple things, and so I have to quick finish up these videos before the stuff is gone. But anyway, he went ahead and listed these. He picked them up. We were at a little thrift store that was like for a hospital thrift store, and we had sold not that long ago a pair of shoes by this company. Let me find his picture of the label so I can put it up here so you can see it. It's HS Trask. Okay, they're from Montana, which I didn't realize that. Anyway, I think the shoes we sold were either know, like loafers or something, but they did pretty well. And so he saw these fisherman sandals, which is always a nice popular style sandal for guys to grab. I sell Born fisherman sandals fairly easily. But he went ahead, he listed it for 60, and he said looking at comps, he was actually at the high end. He went higher because these were in really nice shape. And he went a little bit higher, and they sold like overnight. So he's like, did I do it too low? But then, actually he just must have listed it just right? And I'm looking at my battery on my laptop, and since I'm in a room I'm not usually in, I might have to go grab my plug. So I might have to pause this real quick, but I will be right back. We were talking about HS Trask. We will definitely keep our eyes open for this brand again, as long as they're in great shape. Okay, let's go on. Here is a good brand to know for teacups and china, Ainsley. And it's not everything Ainsley will sell super great. I picked this up. It was a bicentennial mug, cup, whatever. And I don't know, I thought it would do better. It was listed for a while. And so I got a $15 offer, and I just went ahead and took that. Uh-oh. I closed myself out. So no coupon at that point, but I just, like I said, I took a $15 offer because it was the first interest I had gotten in this at all. So that was fine. This was a large bowl. Okay, so even resellers and people who've been listing a long time still make mistakes. This was just kind of a leftover. It was a leftover from a friend's yard sale, and my husband just decided to throw it up there. And it did sell for $30, but he underestimated his shipping. So mistakes still happen. So we paid a little bit more for shipping. Still, whatever. Just the amount of time and the amount of packing materials it took, because it was a large bowl, probably was not, the money was not worth the time at the end. And we usually avoid stuff like that, but sometimes you get blinded by free. And yeah, anyway, I wouldn't do that again. I mean, I don't buy stuff like that at the thrift store to flip anyway, generally. Orvis. Okay, we took an offer on this one too. We definitely had this one listed way too high, and it was listed for a long time. Not sure what the comps were. Originally my husband saw it. He priced it high. Sometimes he likes to do that if he can't really find good comps on it. But I think it kind of scared people away at first. But somebody offered us $50, which is half. And that's probably about where we should have been anyway in our pricing. And but see, if we had listed at 50, we probably would have had to send an offer or do something and would have gotten less. So we sold it for 50. So especially in kind of slower sales, we are totally fine with that. And Kool-Aid Man. So this again is not something I would normally get. But my son was with me at the bins, the little clearance center, and he found this shirt. He liked the graphic on it, and it sold with an offer for $14. So, like, we paid pennies for it. My son made $14 minus fees, and he did the listing, I'm pretty sure. I mean, we just have a template that he kind of fills in, but anyway, my husband took the pictures, he did the listing, so there you go. Next, another item that did not sell for $50, which would have been awesome, but these were like knee-high socks, men's socks. Now, I've never been able to quite figure this out. We put vintage because they were made in Japan, but I don't think they're vintage. I just think they're maybe more like Y2K type vintage. And, you can't really find, if anybody knows if the made in Japan stuff is newer than we think, then just let us know. But we couldn't find anything like this for sale available anywhere. And so someone asked us what our best price was. We said, how about $25 to kind of move things along? and they were happy with that. And the last one before the end of June was maybe that one. Hold on. You're getting a sneak peek into next week. Yep, that was it. Okay, so I just had forgotten to delete that part. Moving on to Poshmark. This first one, so I'm back on the 18th, is this Lucky brand. It's like a field jacket. It's a men's size small. Here's the label. I'll pop it up. So, property of Lucky brand. They make it look very military looking. Anyway, comps were pretty good on this. I just picked it up at the thrift store at the regular at Goodwill for like the flat rate of jackets, $6-7, and sold for $35. This one is it was a necklace I picked up at the thrift store. Let me show you the mark. It was marked just KJL China. KJL is Kenneth J. Lane. Now when it's marked like this, it's newer-ish kind of stuff, you know. Not, you know, vintage Kenneth J. Lane stuff can be really, really pricey. This is stuff, I think when it's marked like that, it's the stuff that was sold on QVC. Anyway, it was a very interesting looking necklace. It took a while, but I took a $25 offer for that. I paid like $1.50. Here's a brand I don't know a ton about, Vince Camuto. Anyway, I noticed these because they were in really good condition. I wasn't quite sure about the style of heel, how popular that would be. You know, kind of a skinny heel, but that kind of reminded me of Y2K in a way. So I just listed them. I looked up comps at the thrift store before I got them, but these were in really, really nice condition, which was another thing in their favor. And so I went ahead and listed them, and they sold for $34 on Posh. This one has a little bit of a story. These are very Y2K looking. I'm not sure exactly how old they are. Donald J. Pliner did this style quite a bit, but very square toe, chunky wedge. It's kind of popular right now. Now, the sad part of this is that, so first the woman messaged me and said, oh, can you cancel this? I need a 9.5. These are 8.5. Something like that. And I was like, sorry, I already dropped these off at the post office. I can't really do anything. And she's like, okay, no worries. Well, then, like, oh, she accepts the package. We get, you know, I get my 5 stars. Money's released and everything. And then she said, I get a mess. Oh, no, all of a sudden I noticed my feedback, my 5 stars went from 5 to 1. And she had worn them like a day, and like the sole fell off. So I had thought, you know, this happens with older shoes, especially shoes that have not been stored properly. They get dry rot. So I thought it was like a situation like that. And she was like, oh, I went to wear them to work, and then I had to like buy another pair of shoes and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. She showed me a picture. It looks like the sole just like totally came unglued. So it could be just that kind of the same thing. The glue just failed after bad storage. I don't know, something like that. So anyway, I said, well, this is Poshmark. I can't really do anything about it. You know, go ahead. And I escalated our conversation to Poshmark, and I was like, you know, I'm willing to do a refund. I'm willing to do everything, but it's like out of my hands. And so we went back and forth a little bit, and then, you know, she was nice. She was totally fine. But then, you know, she said she had contacted Poshmark too, but I don't know what ended up happening. Nothing happened on my end, and I never heard from her again. So it's possible Poshmark just refunded her and left me out of it, and I got to keep my money. I'm kind of thinking that's what happened, since she never messaged me again. So anyway, you just never know with shoes, older shoes sometimes. It just happens. I put this one in here, even though it's something, you know, it's kind of a lesson in what not to buy. And I knew this, and I'm just hoping maybe we got this at the Little Bins place or something like that. But it's just Tommy Bahama. You know, it's just a Henley. Nothing special. 2XL. Anyway, $7. Blech. Okay, Salt Life t-shirt. This was a long sleeve t-shirt. I remember picking this up at Goodwill. I think it was more in the winter time. And I thought, you know what? I have to make sure to remember to list that in the better, you know, as we're getting into fishing and, you know, that kind of weather. So fortunately I did. It sold for $18. Nothing exciting, but it was new with tags. Not really new with tags, but it still had that sticker, size sticker. That long size sticker on it. So it hadn't been worn or anything. Now these were a fun find. I got these at Goodwill like last week and they sold within like a day or so. And it was crazy because I just did a quick run into Goodwill and I like these popped out at me on the shoe rack. And I'm like, are you serious? Because the mark, if you look, they're called Papilio, okay? But underneath it's something by Birkenstock. Licensed by Birkenstock, okay? So they either didn't look closely or whatever, but I was just like, these were like brand new. Like the person had not worn them at all. And my Goodwill just priced them $6. Just like kind of a normal pair of sandals. And I just thought that was so strange. So I just grabbed them. Sold them within a day for like $55. Well, not like $55, $55. Then these sold, this is a good price for a pair of shorts, $30. They're Reebok, but they were CrossFit, and I just thought they had an interesting look with the camo and everything like that. Anyway, $30 for those shorts. I wouldn't just buy any Reebok shorts, though. And then here's a pair of swim trunks by... You're going to make me say it, aren't you? You could see it right here. Anyway, I know it's Xenia. His first name, I'm not going to even try. Hermene. It's not a G. Is it a J? Hermenegildo? No. Hermenegildo? Anyway, Xenia. It's swim trunks sold for $20. Not as exciting as I thought they'd be. This was a really cool sale. So, okay. There is someone I follow on Instagram, and she also has a YouTube channel that you should check out. Her YouTube channel is just her name, and I need to find out exactly how to pronounce her last name, but I'm going to put it up here. Stephanie, and it's Fuson or Fuson? Anyway, there's a lot of possibilities of what it could be. I do a lot of my, like, looking at Instagram, I read captions a lot instead of listening to things. But anyway, so if she said her name, I just haven't heard it out loud. Anyway, I got her name up there. I'm going to link her channel below, but she sells a whole bunch of different things and like is really good at plush and baby blankets. And so I've kind of started to scan the baby blanket area, and I happened to see this blanket that's definitely, I mean, it's not licensed to Disney, but it has obviously Bambi and Thumper. So I did find some comps that were kind of up there. And this is just like an acrylic. And I had to find out some of this information by finding other people who sold them. People had different theories, but I think I found one similar that was still in its package. And this one was in really good shape and nice and clean. So I listed it and cross-posted it to Posh, and it sold on Posh for $80. And the woman said this was her childhood blanket, and she had been looking and looking and looking for a really long time. It came in another couple colors as well. And this was tricky because mine was really like a mint green, and my camera, it just would not photograph as mint green no matter what I did. So I had to just kind of describe that it's not turquoise blue or aqua blue, it's mint green. She was happy, so that's good. Bobby Jones, I had sold a Bobby Jones not that long ago, and what you say in the listing is golfer placket. Okay, so on the placket, which is right under where the buttons are under the collar, there's a little golfer like embroidered. And back when I was first starting reselling, it was a good brand to pick up and resell, especially the ones with the golfer placket. So I found one not, a couple months ago, maybe last year, and sold it, and it actually sold pretty well. So when I saw this one, I went ahead and picked it up. But it might have just been the color combination or whatever. I don't know. I think it's a nice shirt. But it took forever and then only sold for $16. So I don't know. I don't know. The jury's still out on whether I would recommend that or not. Cool. It would not be a what sold video without this brand showing up. KUHL. These were women's hiking shorts in a size 16. They sold for $24. I think I took an offer somebody gave me. And then this was the best, I think it was our best baseball cap sale of the week. Might have been the only one. BMW Lifestyle Motorsports. My husband must have picked this one up because I don't recognize it. And then he went ahead and listed it. So $45 for that hat. Now I have terrible pictures for the skirt, but see, I don't spend a whole lot of time prepping my items. I don't quite throw them on the floor and take pictures, but I don't steam. The most I'll do is a run through the dryer with a wet washcloth and just kind of get the worst of it out. This one was eyelet fabric with all the different holes in it. I got a lot of attention in a lot of different places. It was pretty small. And I just got a kick out of the fact that the brand is called John Mayer. And John Mayer stuff actually sells pretty well in vintage, especially two-piece like suits. So this style was actually a little bit different. It was very cottagecore, roughly, and all that kind of stuff. So $23, I'm good with that. And last but not least, we still have to ship these out, and I told my husband I hope they're still in the bins because we had these listed for a long time. Again, not a brand I recommend. I'm pretty sure it just came from the bins last year sometime when my husband just went and got a bunch of stuff. They're very nice material, Greg Norman, just not a brand to really bolo or anything like that. And somebody just paid $17. I don't even think he sent an offer or I sent an offer or anything. Okay, let's move to Etsy. We're going to start with my husband's shop, Metal and Tweed, and these little Turkish coffee pots or butter warmers, whatever you want to call them, they always sell. He's sold quite a few in the past couple months. I found this at the thrift store the other day and got it easy peasy. It's a tiny one, and it was actually pretty chippy. I'll show you. See, it had a kind of a big chip burn mark, whatever, on that side, but a lot of people just display with these or whatever, and so I didn't think that was too big of a deal, and it sold for $14. Well, speaking of enamel, we sold this one as well, not to the same person. It was totally, well, that I don't know, but it was 2 totally different days, and this was a little tiny teapot, not huge at all, but super cute. And that stuff still sells pretty well. And a Far Side mug. So I think I got this one not long after I did the coffee mug video. And I found it at the thrift store. So Far Side mugs can be a good mug to keep a type of mug to keep an eye out for. This one just sold for $22. And this was his best sale for the last couple weeks. This I remember I picked up at the thrift store. They have bins, like rolling bins that they pull out new merchandise, but they always let people go through it. I spotted these at the bottom, and I think there was a tiny bit of damage at the top of the wing or whatever, a little bit. But these were gorgeous. They were bronze, metal. They had I think they had a sticker. Oh, they had information. Sorry. There was felt on the bottom. There was all this information on the bottom about them, which was very interesting. So I don't know if they had been in a gallery or something at some point, where that might have been where somebody bought them, kind of like a vintage gallery. But we sold them for $85 and I paid $6. We actually had some good sales the last couple weeks. Then over in the pattern shop, we've got $14 for this Vogue Individualist pattern by Betsy Jackson. Sorry. Then a Simplicity, very 70s dress for $10. Another Simplicity. Now we're jumping into the 90s with this little jumper. That pattern sold for $12. This one also sold for $12. And this was one, I believe, I moved it from eBay over to Etsy. And it sold. And then this was the best pattern sale of the week, $38. And so anything over $35 in this shop gets free shipping. So it was $38 free shipping. Simplicity Retro costume collection. So you can see it has a nurse. Had very 40s looking things. There was a singer, a WAC outfit. Anyway, very wartime type looks. And that sold for $38, like I said. So good pattern, best pattern of the week. Then, oh, I did sell one more pattern. This men's pattern for $9. And now I gotta tell you, I sold this pair of boots. Now, I don't even think I've mentioned this Etsy shop before because anyway, I did it on a whim. I opened another Etsy shop for clothing. I don't know why, but this is kind of my cautionary tale because I always do this and then I like start to feel like I'm spread too thin. And so then I like say, well, forget that. I'm going to put everything in one shop. So, but I've had seen a lot, I have never really given Etsy a big shot as far as clothing, vintage clothing. I've always just kind of put it on. I've done accessories, I've done some shoes and things like that on Etsy, but I usually just throw it on eBay and it does okay, right? But I'd seen some people getting really good prices for vintage clothing. And I lied. I did dabble in it a little bit before I switched that main Etsy shop. And I did get some sales that I didn't get anywhere else. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to just do it and I'll just cross post. I'm not going to give that shop like a whole lot of attention or whatever. Well, the problem happened is I usually you have to make a new email to open a new Etsy shop. And so I made a new email and I swore I forwarded it to my regular email. But it must not have worked because I was on my trip. I got home and maybe after about a week, I was like, you know what? I was like, that was such a dumb idea. Why did I open that Etsy shop? And so I was like, I'm going to go into that Etsy shop and just deactivate everything. I'm like, not even going to worry about it. So I go into the Etsy shop and these boots had sold while I was on vacation. They sold for $95. So I had my first sale on there, $95. And I didn't even know it because no emails came through to my email. So I messaged the person. It had been like, I don't know, it was like 10 or 14 days overdue. Like, it was crazy. And so I messaged the buyer and I was like, I am so sorry. I was on vacation. I didn't the vacation mode. I even forgot to put the shop on vacation mode because I forgot it existed. And anyway, I got no answer. So I went ahead and shipped them. They were delivered. I haven't heard from the buyer one way or the other. So, maybe it went to a forwarder. I don't know, but I would think if you bought something and the person didn't ship, you would reach out to them or cancel the order or something. They didn't. So I don't know. I got $95 for these boots I picked up at Goodwill. They were definitely from the 70s, so they were very prairie, Victorian inspired and everything, but I threw words like steampunk and stuff like that in there too. So anyway, I thought they were really cool. Hopefully it doesn't come back to me somehow, but I ended up just leaving the store open. Like maybe I should cross post some more stuff into it. Now I'm going to go over to Depop. Now, if I've shared this sale on Depop with you, I don't know. Just bear with me. I'll go through it quick. It's a pair of cowboy boots. They didn't sell for 60. I think they sold for like 30. But these were supposed to have, you can see like the aqua blue paint in some spots. And these were actually originally had more aqua blue accents on here, is what I figured out, like up here. And a lot of it was rubbed off. So anyway, but now they're just kind of black and pink with pieces of little spots of aqua in different places. So not like the biggest, you know, Corral West was a store that's gone out of business. But they were vintage and they sold on Depop. I can't remember if I told you about those or not, but I do know that I didn't share this one with you. I knew I had missed on my last What Sold video. I had a couple Depop sales that I had missed. So anyway, sold this fun little baseball hat for 20 bucks. It was a no-name brand, but it just was hilarious with the embroidered horses all over it. And then this purse sold actually for 15, and it had been listed for a while, but it was just very Y2K, you know, those little tiny purses that go under your armpit. An armpit purse. Okay, so let's go over to Ruby Lane. Now, I did not hit 100 listings. Thank you all, for all of you who followed my listing challenge, the listing challenge that I would probably do differently next time. I didn't get 100, and I actually forgot to look at my final total, but I'm thinking I was at about 61 items. Now, the thing I like about that is that those were 61 items that I would not have gotten listed if I had not set that challenge to myself. It probably would have been closer to like 20 for those 10 days. Because it ended up being like the busiest 2 weeks. I had some other obligations. I had some other appointments. So most of my listing time was ending up being like at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, which is my worst time of day. But I would like, the listing challenge. So I would just push through and I would list. I had days where I couldn't list at all because of other obligations. So the listing challenge definitely helped in the fact that I got things way more listed than I would have. Because if it had just been a normal week, you know, my husband's working, I'm not like, I need to list. I like to keep things going and keep things steady and get that extra income coming in. But I was so tired some days and just so overwhelmed that I would have just not done it. So because I had the listing challenge, and I love the fact that a lot of you did it too, so please go ahead, leave me in the comments below if you're still here, how you did with your listing challenge. Like, did it help you list more than you normally would have? So I do want to do the listing challenge again sometime this month. Maybe not specifically Ruby Lane, but maybe even on eBay. But I want to prepare a little bit more ahead of time. So I had plans to kind of prep things ahead of time, the night before, and I didn't have the energy or the time to do that. So I felt like, especially towards the end, I was just kind of scrounging and looking for things to list, and so much was just not ready. And so I think I would prep it a little bit better, and I would make sure it was a week that was not quite as hectic. Anyway, that's my thoughts. So, not a complete fail. It actually helped me quite a bit. So let me share with you what sold. I didn't have a crazy uptick in sales like I told you. I didn't expect one, especially that first weekend. They were running a sale on the site that I did not participate in. So it was completely dead that weekend. I actually had like 4 sales today. So I want to keep my momentum going with getting items on there, because most of the things that have sold in the last 10 days were things I listed during this challenge. So that was kind of cool, but not this item. This was sold like the day after day 2 of the challenge. And this had been listed before. So this was in that jewelry haul video I think I shared with you. And I paid $3 for this necklace. It's VENDOO. It's sterling and then just has glass, smoky gray glass stones. Anyway, that sold for $25. And then, so that's the whole thing. And then, okay, so this one I did share with you in that video about the listing challenge. This was one of the items I listed on the first day, and it sold maybe not the next day, but a couple days later. And this was that tea ball or infuser, tea infuser by Watrous Sterling, which was affiliated with International Silver. $46, so not too bad there. This fun game sold overnight. So the graphics on this game were so awesome. It had never been used. The game was called Skunk. It's a dice game for the whole family. You can see here. It's not like in plastic or anything, but the two dice are up here. All the chips, you know, hadn't been removed. The score sheet was new. All that stuff. So just an awesome looking game, and it sold overnight for $30. Okay, so new day, new location. I'm trying to finish up this video. For some reason, the last video I did, all of a sudden I lost video for the last 3 minutes, and all there was audio. So anyway, just redoing this little part of it. I wanted to share this sold from Ruby Lane. Oh, and sorry about the echo. I'm in my reselling layer and it's empty, and this is what it sounds like. More about that in a minute. So this fabric was mid-century fabric. I've talked to you before about the fact that, I don't know, I have a kind of, I don't want to call it a mental block, but I buy fabric and then I don't list it. So I have a couple bins of fabric, and I'm going to do a video about it someday. But anyway, this fabric was awesome. And in one of my listing challenge days, I was doing a grouping of owls and owl related stuff. And so I tracked this fabric down, and it's by DB Fuller. Now there's some, if you look up DB Fuller fabric, there's some crazy good prices for mid-century Fuller fabric, where they did a collaboration like with Picasso and a couple other big name artists, like modernist artists. Good money on that. This was just regular DB Fuller, but very cool gold metallic owls on it. So it was just 2 remnants, 2 yards, I think, pretty much total in 2 different pieces, and a little bit extra. So I sold it for $40. And then the last sale for the week on Ruby Lane is this Gone with the Wind. It's just it's like a little pattern book for a doll. And so it had patterns and it had instructions and everything for making the outfits from Gone with the Wind. And that sold very quickly for $15. I found very solid comps on WorthPoint for this booklet selling for $15 very consistently, so I just kept it there. Anyway, okay, so those were my solds for the end of June. If you're still here and you're interested in the reselling layer part of the video, I'm going to insert that video right into here. Okay, so here's what's been going on so far in my reselling room, or my layer. Everything got pulled out and kind of getting cleaned up and fixed up. It's downstairs in my house, and so this was just a room that wasn't quite finished because it was used for something else. So my window is gonna it's gotten cased, and so then a blind can get put in, and then all new paneling here, and then everything. My husband closed lots of things up that had been holes and things like that. And he's redoing this wall. This will just get painted, you know, after he muds it and everything, because that's the wall that I do my hanging clothes pictures on. It had just been an unfinished sheetrock wall before, and I just used Photo Room to remove the background of my first photo. But yeah, so things are going to get closed up. I won't have the crazy spiders in my boxes anymore, hopefully. And a blind that I can control the light a little bit better. And then here's my big mess of cabinets that you won't see inside currently. he's going to be adding shelves in there so I can fit a little bit more inventory and get that in a better state than it is right now. So that's what's been going on in the eBay room, or reselling room, I should say. So as you can see, that room got totally emptied, and I'm really excited about this because when we moved into this house, we knew this would be the reselling eBay room, whatever, and a lot of the inventory just kind of got put in here, not any kind of rhyme or reason, just because we were so busy with the move. And then life happens, right? And I kept thrifting and I'm listing, and so some stuff is listed and some stuff is to be listed, and it's just kind of a mess. So as my husband adds some shelving, he's going to add shelving into these cabinets. I think I might have mentioned that. And that'll just, I'll be able to fit more things into those cabinets. And I'm excited to finally kind of get some organization. I'm not an organized person, and I do recognize that the clutter kind of makes me less productive. So it's kind of a fresh start for this, but there's still a lot of work ahead of me, organizing and such like that. So anyway, I hope you guys had a good end of June with your reselling. As always, go ahead and leave me a comment how your end of June is going. Is the summer slowdown hitting you poorly? Is it not? Is it, are sales fairly decent for you? I see a lot of videos on YouTube right now from resellers that are very like, eBay is dead and this and this and this, and how to conquer summer slowdown. And I kind of hesitate to even call it summer slowdown, because I feel like we're in like uncharted territory as far as how the year is going to go. So I'm hoping things will pick back up fourth quarter, but I just feel like this year is different than any other year that I've been reselling. And so I really don't know what to expect. But anyway, if you want to leave any thoughts below, feel free. I will see you later on this week, and I will have some vintage items that I found on my road trip for you. All right. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.